To Stamford Bridge next, where Chelsea had the chance to close the gap on leaders Arsenal. Your commentator, Jonathan Pearce.
Right from the beginning, you could sense how much it was at stake. Every duel, every action, it was full gas, and not much football, very short sequences of play. And yeah, with the 10 men, obviously we expected a different game. We planned it, we went through in the second half, and straight away, after the first kick, they get a free kick, a wide free kick from their corner, and they score. And emotionally, it becomes a very tricky game to play.
The TV replays showed that the tackle was high for the red card. You agree?
Yeah, I think it's a red card. I think 11v11, we were in control, we created chances, and we were probably doing better than them. Then the red card changed a little bit the dynamic of the game, but even with that, I think the way the player, they dealt with that has been outstanding.
Lately, I've been playing as a striker, and I'm trying to move in the right areas so my teammates can find me. And today they did, so really happy for that. I try to take information from every game, every action, even striker that I see on the TV. So that helps me. And you yourself seem to be getting game sharper game by game.
Yeah, I think that comes with playing consistently, playing at a high level week in, week out. It's something I didn't do for a long period, and I've got a good streak together, and I'm happy to be on the pitch.
And you like playing in that midfield role?
I like playing full stop.
Well, playing in that midfield role, Micah, how important was he in sort of stopping Arsenal?
It was sensational. I think Maresca with a tactical plan was definitely there, but James was just outstanding in this formation, in that midfield area. So this is him on the ball. So what we do know is, in that midfield, Arsenal like to go man-to-man, and the same for Chelsea as well. But what James was doing, because Rice was marking him, was pulling him all the way out. He didn't know to go to Caicedo or to James. So now James pulled him out, and now it allows Gusto to go in midfield. And that's what's so good about James. Whether he's playing right back, centre mid, he has an effect on the game. Okay, they go forward, they break the lines, and then Esteban, he should do better here. So firstly, we've gone with on the ball. This is now him pressing. So I just want to hold it here. James and Rice, normally, and you see Enzo and Zubimendi. But hold it there. But normally you would have James a little bit further on. But this time, he's the furthest forward in this position. He goes there, it goes to one, it goes to the other, and now he goes because he knows he's got the protection behind him. A better pass, they're in, Arsenal get numbers back. He was instrumental in the game, exactly what they're doing. But this is my favourite one here. Right, just hold it here. He sees where Rice is. He wants to press him. And as we roll it on slowly here now, he's absolutely perfect midfield play. Watch now. He stops. He looks behind him. He knows exactly that he's covered behind him. Then he decides to go to Calafiori and get the ball because he knows he's got a chance to win it. It's all about percentages. When you're supposed to go, when you're supposed to drop off. And for a right back playing in midfield, it's just sensational to watch. And then down to 10 men, 1 and 2 touch. Can you see a pass? We know he's got that. We've been waxing lyrical about it for years, doing all this sort of stuff. Absolutely perfect. And then, yeah, he's in a position where he wants to receive the ball. Again, Chelsea with 10 men, causing Arsenal problems. And then who gets the corner for Chalobah? Goal there. We know his delivery is so good. And for someone to have that ability to go from right back to centre midfield but have that effect on a game is just sensational.
Yeah, and not just then about stopping Arsenal, it was about creating for Chelsea as well in that game. And it was a hard-fought derby. Mikel Arteta talked about it there, without ever really spilling over, apart from the Caicedo red card. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, you can't. There's no argument. It's high, and he's endangering an opponent, and he's late, and eventually they get to the right decision, but it's a bad tackle. You can see how high it is here. There, it's no argument at all. Clear red card, Michael.
Yes, I did. I didn't when I watched it earlier on in real time. I didn't think it was, but as I watched it on and that angle there, it's certainly a red card.
Yeah,
Without
even though Caicedo himself looks slightly startled to be receiving it. But yeah, it was given as a yellow on the field and then overturned when he went to have a look at it. We talked about Chelsea stopping Arsenal from open play. They were also effective in stopping them from corners as well.
I just think they were excellent all over the field. I mean, we know what Arsenal can do and what they try to do. But here you got Enzo here, blocking the run. Again, James there, no entry. João Pedro's not even looking at the ball. And then Cucurella, no entry. Goalkeeper comes and punches it clear. How many times have we seen that before with Arsenal? Pedro's not looking at the ball. He's just looking for the runner. Goalkeeper's got a free punch again. This is not what Arsenal normally do. Normally they're so organised. But this was the perfect one. Brave, 10 men, 3 up against 3. They said, no problem. We'll leave Madueke at the edge of the box. We'll defend what we need to defend. And the goalkeeper catches it. Easy. And, I mean, that was the lowest set-piece expected goals this season because Chelsea defended so well.
Yeah.
But they're missing Gabriel and Saliba.
Yeah, and taking that into account, missing their 2 centre-halves or their 2 first-choice centre-halves, taking into account the week that Arsenal have had, has it been a good week or is this kind of set them back in any way, do you think, dropping points at Chelsea?
When you're up against 10 men for that amount of time, I guess there'd be a little bit of disappointment, but I think when you look at the overall big picture, the week they've had, beating Tottenham very impressively, beating Bayern very impressively, and going there today, being 1-0 down, I know they're against 10 men and they're missing their 2 main centre-halves, coming away with a point, I think that's a very, very good week.
Yeah, still keep that gap at 5 points at the top of the table.
It's 1-1 then at Stamford Bridge. We're going to persevere, aren't we?
Yeah.
Fingers crossed, everybody. Look, the red card, Enzo Maresca said he didn't have a problem with it. He had more a problem with consistency on previous decisions. But when you look at the Caicedo challenge, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at the angle he challenges at as well, and also just understanding why he's going in for the challenge initially anyway. So, we just want to run it on. I just want to highlight where the 2 players are initially now. So, if we just stop it now. And we're looking at the 2 players, Caicedo and Moreno. Caicedo doesn't see him. Yeah, he doesn't. All he's focused on, really, is that. And rightly so. As you run it on now, I just don't know why he gets involved. He's got his mate coming out as well at centre-back.
So Chalobah would have Moreno covered there.
Yes, he's stepping out there. But this happens a lot with Caicedo. Listen, he's brilliant. He's fantastic. Brilliant at winning the ball back. But he ends up in some really strange positions when he's making tackles. Now, he ends up with a situation now as he comes across. And I'm not just talking about the nature of the tackle. But he's actually now facing his own goal to make a tackle against Moreno. Now, forget the colours of the shirts. If we just put everybody in a black shirt, you'd think Caicedo's team were attacking that way.
Yeah, he would, yeah.
But that again comes from the angle. He doesn't need to get involved in that tackle. Chalobah's stepped out with him. His man with Eze. But again, he's got this sort of...
He was pumped up today, wasn't he?
He was really pumped up. I think we saw that right from the start of the game. I think the whole talk this week of, Rice v Caicedo, understandably so, maybe got to him a little bit. It's a huge game. And he's ended up getting himself involved in a challenge. Yes, it's a red card. But the where he comes from, the angle of the challenge is just daft to get involved in a tackle like that. He doesn't need to. We've looked at it again. It's just above the ankle. And when you see the ankle buckle a little bit, I think that's always a sort of a real giveaway for VAR to make sure that they give the red card.
It's his first red card for Chelsea. He is actually going to be suspended for the first game of the World Cup next year because he got 2 yellows in the qualifier, unless he gets a visit to the White House, and then maybe that might change for the opening game of the World Cup. Who knows? But when you look at him domestically, he makes more fouls to tackles than most other players in the Premier League. Now, is that youth and all-action style and something that may change?
I hope it changes. Yeah, because listen, he's a brilliant player. He wins the ball back fantastically well. But I think he does have a tendency, and I'm quite surprised, really. It's only you mentioned his first red card. I remember a challenge, I think, in the Carabao Cup final in Gravenberch a couple of years ago as well. And I don't think it's because he's so much a nasty player. I think at times he can look clumsy. And some of the angles he comes in with the challenge, and that was a case in point, really, where he ends up facing his own goal to win a challenge when basically he's got someone else coming behind him and he just doesn't need to get involved. So you just got to be careful with that. But as I said, he's a fantastic player, but he definitely needs to learn from that. And I'm sure the manager, if he's come out and said it was, a definite red card, that's really good to hear, and I'm sure he'll speak to him.
It's not often, is it, at the moment, when we analyse set pieces in a game involving Arsenal, that they're on the receiving end of it, and we're going to look at the first goal that Chelsea scored, the only goal that Chelsea scored, which is Trevor Chalobah from this corner.
Yeah, and as I said, we don't talk about Arsenal so much. It was something we highlighted last season, actually, that they had a little bit of a problem defending set pieces, not so much scoring, as we know. But Chalobah, who I actually think has been outstanding for Chelsea this season, I speak at times about maybe a lack of a top centre-back, but he's been excellent this season. He's involved with Timber there as well. And it feels like a lot of the Arsenal players are actually more concerned with stopping a man than actually going to win the ball. I think Timber's the same, and I think Mosquera here at the back post, he seems obsessed with Enzo, rather than just trying to head the ball out. He is on the line at the back post. But what I would say is I think Chelsea deserve that. And what was really interesting in the game is Chelsea have got really good experience, unfortunately, of going down to 10 men. But we've been critical this season of how Maresca's gone about it, going with 10 men. We've mentioned going to a back five, I think, at Manchester United. I think certain substitutions at home to Brighton as well. But in this one, they still had a threat going forward. In even later in the game as well.
And his substitutions were like for like as well, weren't they? I mean, Garnacho for Esteval, Delap came on for João Pedro. So as you say, it's not like they retreated. They tried to stay on the front foot.
Yeah, as I said, if you go through Maresca's time at Chelsea, you think of the Club World Cup as well, maybe the end of last season as well, there was a couple of red cards for Jackson. They've never really got positive results. We all know it's tough, but you shouldn't get beat every time you go down to 10 men. And today's a case in point. They're playing against the best team in the country, and they've got a 1-1 draw, and it was fully deserved.
As far as the equaliser that they conceded?
Yeah, I think he'll be disappointed with this, and the reason being why is, if you're going to lose a goal when the opposition have got the extra man, you want it to be for that reason that they've got the extra man. And it wasn't really the case, because football is a numbers game. And when we look at the situation now, when the ball comes in the box eventually, you'd expect this Arsenal to have decent possession, build up into the attacking third, but this is where it changes. And I just want to highlight this battle here. So what you've got is, you've got Fofana, Moreno.
Yeah.
Okay? So he's the goal scorer. Fofana's up against him now. I just want to roll it on very slowly. And as the ball comes to Saka, obviously we know does well with the ball, but if I just stop it now, yes, Arsenal have got an extra player, but Arsenal have got 6 players in this picture.
Yeah.
Chelsea have got 9, including the goalkeeper. So this has nothing to do with
being
Arsenal.
Overloaded,
no,
yeah.
It's not. So I think when Maresca looks back at this and the Chelsea defenders look back at this, I think they'd be really disappointed to concede a goal in this situation, because what you end up getting is this.
It worked.
It worked. We got there.
We got.
But what you've got is a 3v3.
Yeah.
That's going to happen 11v11. So I think he'd be disappointed that they've conceded this goal like this. But Saka, who just gets the better of Cucurella, which was something Yamal couldn't do in the week. But Moreno, listen, what a role he plays in this team. It's absolutely fantastic, isn't it, the role that he plays? A goal scorer, a box crasher, if you like. He's always in there with his head. Does really well. And you just, from there, you think Arsenal are going to go on and win the game, because as we've seen there, as the ball goes in, Moreno runs and gets the ball. He's trying to get the kick off quickly because they want to go on and win the game.
It's also that. It's also for a man who isn't a natural centre forward. It's the movement to pull off Fofana, and those natural centre forwards always would tell me, as soon as you can see your opponent's number, you know you've got them.
Well, it's really interesting, and I've said this before, but not about him. I've said this before about Havertz. I actually have always thought if Havertz was fully fit, he'd be the centre forward in this team, maybe not Gyökeres. Gyökeres came on today and was probably disappointed he didn't get the winner. I think Timber took one right off his head at the end. It'd be really interesting how long it takes before Mikel Arteta puts him fully back into the team, or he sticks with Moreno in that position, because he's been absolutely outstanding with when Gyökeres has been out.
I mean, they had a really interesting discussion in the studio after that, Theo and Daniel Sturridge, about whether that is Arsenal missing an opportunity. So on the one hand, they've got a point away in a London derby against a side who will be there or thereabouts, but they were down to 10 men. So which side of the fence would you fall on there?
I wouldn't say Arsenal were sort of negative, and that's been something thrown at Mikel Arteta over the last few years when they've been going for the title. I mean, you look at the substitutions he made, Maz Lewis-Skelly coming on a half-time. I know Calafiori was on a yellow card, but again, he's going into midfield. Odegaard comes on, Gyökeres comes on. They threw everything at it. But I just felt as the game was getting to sort of the last 5 or 6 minutes, Chelsea was still a threat. So as a manager, if they'd have lost that wouldn't have just been losing a point. Psychologically, to lose against 10 men in a London derby, I think would have been a big blow. You've seen the Arsenal players at the end of the game. They looked a little bit deflated, but it's not a bad point. And I think it's not so much about giving criticism to Arsenal for not going on to win the game. I think we should credit Chelsea, who thought were outstanding with 10 men.
The London derby between Chelsea and Arsenal delivered pure Premier League drama from start to finish. It ended 1-1, but this was a match loaded with tension, fight, and unforgettable moments. The turning point came in the 38th minute when Moises Caicedo received a VAR-reviewed red card for a dangerous challenge on Mikel Merino. With Stamford Bridge stunned and Chelsea down to 10 men, the game seemed to tilt heavily in Arsenal's favor. But instead of collapsing, Chelsea dug deep. Early in the second half, the 10-man Blues shocked everyone. Trevoh Chalobah rose highest to smash in a brilliant header, sending the home crowd into a frenzy. It was a moment of defiance, Chelsea refusing to bow despite the disadvantage. Arsenal, determined and patient, struck back in the 59th minute. Merino connected beautifully with a Bukayo Saka cross, leveling the match and raising hopes of a comeback victory. The Gunners dominated possession, pressed relentlessly, and created openings, but Chelsea's defense, led by a superb Robert Sanchez, stood tall. When the final whistle blew, Chelsea celebrated a point earned through heart and resilience. Arsenal walked away frustrated, knowing they let a golden opportunity slip.